What is going on, guys? We are gonna do an update on the Jeep. So if you haven't seen my video of when I bought the Jeep, I'll throw it up right here. First time I ever owned a Jeep. I kind of went through it, showed you what it looked like when I got it, kind of talked about the plans I had. If you scroll through my videos, you'll also see some of those videos I put up there, some of the stuff we've done. But I just wanted to give an update video. Had the thing for about 8 months now. Show you what it looks like. So here it is. If you saw it before, not a bunch of big differences, but a lot of subtle things. I actually did a lot of work to this thing. First thing you might notice is it's set a little taller now. So I did a 3-inch zone lift. I now have a set of 33-inch tires on it. I also went ahead, did the full-size spare. So I did a video on that, on what it took to make that happen. Cleaned it up quite a bit. We did rear axle bearings and seals, springs, shocks. I also did a front track bar, adjustable track bar, when I went ahead and did the lift. So if we look down under here, we've got the rough country steering stabilizer. That was actually on there, but I did do the adjustable track bar, end up replacing some of the front end components. I also did upper and lower ball joints on both sides. And then I just went ahead, since I did that lift, you don't have to when you do a 3-inch lift, and I went ahead and did all 8 control arms as well. So all 8 control arms, upper, lower, front and back. Once again, not required, but the old ones were a little worn out, and I was getting some funny noises, some funny sensations as I was driving this thing, especially if you got off camber at all. With the control arms, that also gave me the ability to push that front axle back forward, the back axle back a little bit, get a little wheelbase that you lose whenever you do a lift. Another thing that I think makes these look way better is taking these some people call them pillows, some people call them milk jugs, whatever you want to call them, off the bumpers. But then what I did is I came back and got end caps on the front and the back. I think it just gives it a little bit of a more finished look. What I also did is where the bumper bolts on, this was kind of rusty looking, so I took this all apart, got it all painted, went ahead and painted the hitch. Well, I had it all apart as well. Inside, haven't done anything. It's all still stock. This one was, once again, pretty clean. Does have 107,000 miles on it now. Put a couple thousand miles on it. Drives really well. Of course, it is a Jeep, so I wouldn't want to take a road trip in it, but for a TJ Wrangler, all the problems have been fixed, the things that these are known for, and it drives like it's supposed to. One thing you lose when you lift a TJ and don't do upper and lower control arms, or some control arms, is the way to set the caster. So the caster on this is basically the relation of the top and lower ball joint to one another. If you just lift it, have factory control arms, they are a set length. You have no way to adjust that. So doing the adjustable control arms, I was able to get about 5 degrees of caster, which with 33-inch tires makes this thing drive great. Another thing I learned, on the Rubicon, there was a factory skid plate that covered the automatic transmission. When you lift it, your drive shaft will hit that skid plate. So I actually was able to get an aftermarket skid plate to cover the oil pan and the transmission. That's this guy here. It attaches to the factory one back here. Got some brackets up front. I will throw that video up top as well. I did go through, and we talked about that in the first video, paint corrected it. It's not perfect, but once again, for this old of a Jeep, looks pretty good. I also end up having to replace the hood latches on both sides. I did take blinkers out, polished them. I put spark plugs in this thing. I did all the fluids. One thing I really struggled with, and I think it's a pretty common thing, is the doors. I don't think it ever been taken off of this thing. You've got the nut on each hinge. Supposed to take that off. Supposed to slide up out of there. Those were seized in there. So what I ended up doing is just spraying them down with a penetrating oil. Did that a couple different times. Let that set for a week or so. Then I would screw the nut on, you know, 3 or 4 threads, and get a soft blow hammer and tap on the bottom of those hinges until I was able to get those things to come up off of there. Then once I got them off, I cleaned up the hinges, greased the pins, so when I put it back together, I have no problems getting them on and off now. So when I did that, got the doors off, wanted to go drive around with the doors off. Kind of fun thing you can do with a Jeep, but the mirrors are attached to the door. So what I actually did is picked up a set of trail mirrors. These things just drop down in the hinge once you get the door off. So my initial plan with the TJ was to build it into like a trail rig that I could go out, you know, off-roading with my buddies. It's something I just haven't done. Had it for 8 months now. So I think this one's actually gonna go away. I've got it listed for sale right now, but I wanted to go ahead and give an update video on it before we do. So if I do end up selling the Jeep, I do think I'll miss it. But once again, somebody needs to enjoy this thing. It's a super nice Jeep. You know, it needs to go see some trails, needs to be used. I just don't use it a lot. So once again, I might regret selling it, but I think that's where we're at now. If you guys have any comments about the TJ, do you think I should keep it? Should I sell it? Drop them down in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time.